Welcome to day 2 of Jobscan's third annual No Fear Job Search Virtual Summit. If this is your first session of the week, we're happy to have you here. If you attended all 3 yesterday, then we're happy to have you here again today. We created this webinar series as a way to connect some of the best career experts with our job seekers, just in order to supercharge your job search. As a thank you for attending, we are offering 20% off Jobscan Premium. That link is in the right-hand corner of your screen. If it may be slightly covered up, you will be able to see it toward the end, but that beginning part is www.jobscan.co, and then it's --promo-no fear 2022. And we'll mention that link again later as well. We also have a giveaway going on this week where you can win 6 months free of Jobscan Premium. In order to enter that giveaway, just go to sweepwidget.com-c-jobscan to enter. Entries are earned by either sharing this event on Twitter or LinkedIn, and that must be done using the link on the giveaway page. And you can also enter by using the unique code for each session. And each session's code will be given at the end. So I'll give you the code for this session at the very end. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker for this session, Jasmine Escalera, who is a career coach. Jasmine will be presenting on LinkedIn optimization. Feel free to use the Q&A box to ask questions throughout the presentation, and we will get to those at the end. And welcome, Jasmine. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paige, for the invite to present. This is my second year presenting at this amazing summit, and I'm so excited to talk about this year my favorite social platform, which is LinkedIn. But I am not going to lie to you all. I joined LinkedIn in 2014, and I actually didn't start using it until 2020, when pretty much everyone was like, you're a career coach, but you don't use LinkedIn. There's some kind of weird anomaly here. So I am not going to throw shade at anybody who has feelings about LinkedIn, but what I am here to tell you is that LinkedIn completely changed not just my career, but also my business and my personal life. So I'm going to share a little bit about my LinkedIn journey, both as a career-centric individual and a business owner, to really be able to validate you and to show you that LinkedIn is the place to go, not only to land your next opportunity, which is what we're here to talk about, you as a job seeker, but also for you to showcase who you are, what you're passionate about, and to really display the real you, who you are, to your colleagues in a way that you may have never been able to do before. So for today, we're going to talk about LinkedIn, how to optimize your profile, how to really showcase you as a job seeker so that you can do what? Land your next job. That's what we are all here for. So I'm going to walk you through all of those elements. But first, I really want to take an opportunity to give you a little bit of knowledge on who I am and why I'm here talking to you about LinkedIn. So I am a career coach, and I help women of color to really create the career that is authentically theirs. So the career that they want to actually be working, landing jobs that make them feel good to go into every single day, making the money they deserve. And the reason why I truly focus on this is because for so much of my career, I felt lost, uncertain, and like I was in the wrong career path because I didn't give myself the opportunity to take a step back and really identify what it was that I truly wanted to do. And as you all are in this space as job seekers, you have the opportunity to take that time for yourself and contemplate what you want that next move to be so that it truly aligns with the person you are, how you want to show up in your career, and gives you everything you need to be able to thrive in this particular aspect of your life. And that's what I truly help my clients to do and to contemplate and think about. And the reason why this is so incredibly important to me is because I am a Latina. I grew up in the projects of Brooklyn, New York, and I grew up to parents. My dad, who is here in these 2 photos, didn't even graduate high school. My mom went to college when I was much later in life, and they always instilled in me the value of education. I can remember walking outside with my dad and him saying, I want a better life for you, and the way to get that is to not do what I did. did, which is not graduate high school. It's really to focus on education. So my parents instilled in me this value of, in order to have the life you want, you have to go to college, you have to go to school. And that's exactly what I did. I followed the steps. I was the first to go to college, the first to go to graduate school, the first to land a six-figure job in STEM. I was the first. But because I was the first, I didn't have the knowledge, support, or guidance from my parents or my community on how to actually make this career thing work for me. And because of that, I conformed a lot early on in my career. I thought that was the way we were supposed to do things. Try to act like everyone else wants you to act in order to really be able to progress, to claim your seat, to get the money. But what I realized was that wasn't actually the way it works. Taking ownership of your career is truly the way to do it, but I didn't know how. And so for a long time, I stumbled in my career. I didn't feel confident. I felt so uncertain and so unsure of who I truly was. And it took a lot of deep reflection, a lot of support from others who had gone through the same journey to get me out of that hole and really understanding who I wanted to be and how I wanted to show up as in this space. And since that time of deep reflection, since that time of really building myself, since that time of acknowledging all of the experiences that I have, I decided to actually start a coaching business where I could support other women of color who felt the same way. And so my whole business is truly built on the foundation of, you may not have had the knowledge and support or guidance from your family, from your community, because you were the first, but you can still be successful in this area. And I definitely can show you how to do that. And so since starting my business, things have been so amazing, very much due to LinkedIn. I've had the opportunity to become a TEDx speaker, to be a LinkedIn top voice, to present here with Jobscan, to be named one of the job search experts to follow with Jobscan. And it's truly all because of me showcasing myself, my brand, my authenticity, who I am, and not just my career, but my business as well on LinkedIn. And I want to show you really, truly how to do that today so that opportunities come to you, including the jobs that you are looking for. So my goal really in this presentation is to have you leave this virtual space feeling inspired to use LinkedIn to showcase who you are, your dopeness, and to really be able to enhance and put out your online brand, and of course, to land your next job. So the first thing that we're going to really be covering is, of course, why is LinkedIn so important to use, which we are all in this space. We know that LinkedIn is the premier platform for professionals, but why should you be using it as a job seeker? And then I'm going to talk to you about how to create the best LinkedIn profile you possibly can that showcases who you are and really puts out there what you can provide to a company and a new employer. And then we're even going to talk a little bit about professional development using the LinkedIn platform. So how you can not just showcase what you have, but also continue to build your skill set, and how you can use that building of your skill set also to draw in potential employees. And then we're also going to talk about just how do you showcase your brand on this platform? What are some of the things that you could be doing to really put yourself out there? So again, those opportunities and jobs come to you, those hiring managers see you, people with the capacity to bring you on board to their amazing company know who you are. So the first question that I want you to ask yourself, and you can just reflect on this for a second, is what word describes how you feel about LinkedIn? And I'm going to just tell you a quick story. As I mentioned earlier, in 2014, I joined the platform and I didn't touch the platform until years later. And the reason was that the word that described LinkedIn for me was almost kind of, I wouldn't even say it was a word, it was like this feeling or vibe of, it's too professional for me, that I couldn't be myself on the platform. And I was already in a career and in a field and in an industry where I didn't feel like I could be myself. I was a Latina in STEM, which is a very competitive, white male dominated space. I didn't feel like I could bring myself to work every day. So why would I just feel like going on a platform where I didn't think I could bring myself to that platform? But once I started to use LinkedIn on a regular basis, even just to lurk and creep and see what everybody else was doing, I started to recognize something really interesting. People were getting so real, so vulnerable, and so raw on the platform in a way that I truly felt like we were changing what professionalism, what we think is professional, and what we think is right to talk about in our careers in a completely different way. I've had the opportunity to use this platform. Sometimes I tell people and they laugh at me as therapy. I go on the platform and talk about the experiences that I've had as a Latina in STEM. I talk about my journey of healing myself from toxic workplaces. I talk about what it means to be a woman of color in the workplace and how hard it is to really be able to break out in that profession, but in that space, but also to level up. And the amount of validation I have received just about my own experiences has helped me to really be able to understand that I am not alone. And so when you think about LinkedIn, if you have a sort of connotation of I can't show myself, I can't showcase myself, I can't be myself, I am here to tell you that that is not true. You can be you, you can showcase you. And truly, the way that I started to believe that was even the case was by seeing my colleagues, seeing other people be their truest, most vulnerable selves on the platform. And so I want you to feel as though that is something you can do. And when we talk about the brand part of this and how you really put yourself out on the platform, I want you to think about how you can talk about your passions when it comes to your career and your life, how you can talk about what inspires you, and that in essence could be the thing that actually starts to draw the opportunities to you. So that's my fluffy, like, let's use LinkedIn pep talk. So now, why is LinkedIn so important for you to use as a job seeker? Well, everybody is on the platform. There are so many professionals from all around the world using LinkedIn. And what the pandemic has shown us is that LinkedIn is the opportunity to open yourself up to possibilities, not just in your area, not just in your field, not just in your country, but around the world, that you have the opportunity to meet people from your industry or field, not just here, but everywhere globally. And 87% of recruiters are actually using this platform to check up on candidates. So they are using this platform to see what you're talking about, to see how you showcase yourself, to see what's important to you. Because so many companies are out there really looking for dynamic professionals. We all know that you can do the job because your resume says you can, but we really want to see what else can you offer in terms of cultural fit and passion, and how else do you resonate with the company in terms of who you are as a professional. And then, of course, we know that LinkedIn has a ton of jobs. So LinkedIn is the place where you can not only look at companies and find more about companies, it should definitely be a part of what you're doing to research companies, but there's also so many different open positions. So you as a job seeker are in a prime moment to be able to capitalize on the use of this platform to showcase you and to connect to people who can hire you, not just, again, in your location, but truly globally. So LinkedIn also provides the opportunity, again, to showcase your brand, to promote yourself and what's of interest to you. But also there are LinkedIn groups that you can get in contact with to utilize for networking. So we always, as coaches, tell people that when you're connecting with new individuals on LinkedIn or in any way, that it's always great to have a commonality, something in common to discuss with the person. And so LinkedIn groups are a great way to connect with new individuals because you already have that area, that thing in common. You can also showcase your thought leadership, again, talking about your passions, what's important to you in terms of your field, your industry. You can talk about new things that you're learning. But also, of course, as a job seeker, LinkedIn is the premier platform for you to really be able to find out about companies, opportunities, and get connected to hiring potential. So now we know that LinkedIn is really great, but the problem is that we don't really, or maybe you're not using it as much as you maybe think you should, right? So LinkedIn is one of those places that oftentimes we like any social media platform. We watch the videos, we read the things, but we're not necessarily interacting or engaging. And I find that the reason why a lot of my clients don't interact and engage is because they feel like they don't have the strongest LinkedIn profile and they don't necessarily know how to showcase themselves on the platform, meaning they don't know what to talk about if they wanted to put up a post, or they don't know how to navigate the platform to enhance their particular brand. And so the number one thing I always tell all of my clients to do is to set an intention for what you want to do on the platform to start. And for all of you in this space, this part is super easy because you are all here with the intention of, I want to find my next opportunity. I want to find my next job. I want to get the career path or the next step that's going to take me on that path. I want to get with the right company, with a good company. So your intention here with utilizing LinkedIn, I want you to focus in on, I want to land my next job. And if you basically have the intention of, I want to land my next job, then that would basically give you some thoughts around how you want to present your profile. And Cody, sorry, that's my dog. Cody, babe. Cody. Sorry, everyone.
That's nothing compared to my dog, so don't worry about it.
He's usually pretty good, but you know, during this time of the day, the UPS people are coming and going, Amazon, so he's a mess. Cody, I need you to be good for mom, okay? Good boy. Yeah, there you go. Good boy. So if you have the intention of landing a job on LinkedIn, sorry, now you're going to have to hear me tapping on him. And if you have the intention of landing a job on LinkedIn, then what you're really going to do is you're going to focus in on, again, your profile, your brand, showcasing you as the best possible job seeker for the jobs you're looking for. So there's a few things that this intention of landing a job are going to make you want to consider on your LinkedIn profile or within your LinkedIn brand. You want to be highlighting your strengths and your skills. You want to be telling your network and hiring managers what you do and what you're great at doing, right? You want to share your personality, your passions, your interests, because you want to find a company that has a mission or an objective that aligns to who you are as an individual. You may want to use keywords or highlight certain keywords so that people with hiring potential end up on your profile or land on your profile. You may also want to be able to demonstrate the experiences you have that you know you can get this job done or your future job done. You may want to talk about projects and work experience that align with the types of positions and roles you're looking for next. And you may also want to showcase your industry knowledge, certification, specialty training, and show you've got some street cred. And these are all things that you can do on LinkedIn by just updating and having the strongest profile possible. And I'm going to show you how to do every single one of these things with the intention of being a job seeker on the platform. I'm going to show you how to do every single one of these things using your profile, so you have the strongest profile you could put out there with the intention of, I am going to find my next job using this platform. So to do that, we're going to focus on the 6 core elements of having a successful LinkedIn profile. And I'm also going to give you some other tips that really help you use your profile and enhance your brand as a job seeker. So the first thing we're going to talk about in terms of having a super successful profile, one that increases your likelihood of being seen by people who have hiring potential and can provide you opportunities, one that showcases who you are and what you do and your greatness, and also one that connects you to the jobs you're looking for. First thing is you have to have a profile picture. If you do not have a profile picture, definitely get one up there. There's actually a lot of data, and LinkedIn could give you the best data. There's a lot of data out there that actually, I think it was something like profiles without pictures. I can't remember the numbers, but basically, if you don't have a profile picture, no one's looking at your profile. You have a lesser degree of people stopping and landing on your profile if no picture is present. So if you do not have a picture, I want you to have one. And I am all about photo opportunities, but you don't have to do anything special here to have a LinkedIn picture. All I want you to do is focus on having a picture that actually you're looking head on and you're giving some personality and pizzazz. And that can just be with a nice smile. You're welcoming and inviting to individuals who come up on your profile, that it's like, hey, come and check me out, right? So I want everyone to make sure that they have a profile picture, one that is head on, one where you're showing your personality and presenting yourself. That's so incredibly important, because if you do not have one, likely your profile is not going to be looked at. Now, the other thing that I want you to do, and this is really important, is have a killer and stand out headline. So gone are the days where it's like project manager at company name. We do not want that kind of headline. We actually want you to have a very value-based headline. Your headline should have two major components. It should be keyword filled and have an overview of who you are and what you do. And it should illustrate your value in some way. So what you bring to the table, who you are, what you do for a company. And so I have two different types of headlines here for two different kinds of positions that could be helpful in allowing you to think about what you might want to put in yours. So for a project and operations director, helping nonprofits meet their goals through systems creation and effective team leadership. What a headline like this tells me about this individual is, first off, they're a director level person. And one of the key things that they can bring to me as a company is help me with systems. So if I'm a company where I feel like my systems are out of whack, I feel like people don't really get it, the operational procedures aren't there, this is someone that I would really be interested in. And also, this is a team leader. So this is someone who plays well with teams, who focuses on teams, maybe who's into coaching and mentorship. So this is the kind of headline that would make me gravitate towards someone. And then also business developer and sales manager. So created new customer base, increasing a company's profits by 33% in 6 months. This is fantastic, because what this tells me is, well, if I want someone who's going to be a sales manager, here's someone who has some concrete evidence of how they manage sales, with also quantifiable evidence of how they may have done it for another company. So when you think about your headline, here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about the job you're looking for next, and I want you to think about one or two key things that company, that job would want you to do. So what are 1 to 2 really important things that job or company would want you to do in order to be successful in this role? And the way that you figure that out is from the job description. Take a look at a few representative job descriptions for the jobs you're applying for. So if you're applying for a project manager position, look at maybe 3-4 project manager position descriptions and ask yourself, what's common across these different job descriptions? What are the 1 to 2 things each one of these jobs would want me to do? And then you can create a headline that's very focused towards that. So it can be what you're gunning for next, and the 1 to 2 things that you do within your position or for a company that would be very connected to the types of jobs you're seeking next. So I'd love for you guys to play with this kind of a headline, make it value-based so that it stands out. Now, the other part of a LinkedIn profile that always trips people up is the about section or the summary section. And so I've broken up one particular way. So I think the thing that trips people up is that you can write this any way you want, but I've broken down one way that's really helpful for you to think about how to create your about and summary section to make it different from your resume, and also to provide a little bit of pizzazz or a little bit of your personality into it, so it showcases a bit more of you. So I want you to think about the about section as being in 4 separate sections, which will of course become one, but 4 separate sections. So you can start out with the who you are and who you serve. Now, meaning who you serve is what kind of companies do you work for? What kind of work do you do, right? So it could be something like a project manager who helps nonprofit organizations, focused on children's mental health, right? So you can kind of think about the who you are and what you serve, and that can be 1 to 2 sentences. What's your career background or career story? This is where you get to really insert your passions. What is so interesting about this field or area or thing that you're doing that connects to you as a person or your career? So for example, in my career, I was really focused on children's mental health. So I was focused on children's mental health because growing up in the projects, I really realized that there was so much of a stigma in Black and Brown communities around mental health. And I wanted to be able to provide support to kids who were dealing with mental health issues or who just needed support and love and compassion so that they would have the foundation to being healthy, thriving adults. And so in my about section and summary section, because I was in children's mental health, I told a little bit of a story about growing up in the projects and why it was so important to me to destigmatize mental health in Black and Brown communities. So this was a way for me to connect on a deeper level with the kinds of organizations and work that I wanted to do. And that was something that I felt really comfortable doing on LinkedIn because that's the space for you to showcase you. So the third section can be a major career achievement or something you're really proud of. So potentially a project that you worked on where you really showcased who you are. You can do a little descriptor of that. And then your last paragraph is a call to action. What's the next step or thing that you want people to do if they land on your profile? So that call to action could be link up with me, connect with me, and I'm inviting individuals to have coffee chats if you're in this particular area, field, industry. Or it can be, open to positions or open to hear more about positions in XY field. So you want to use some kind of structure like this where it really highlights so many different components of you. It highlights what you do. It highlights a little bit about your career story, your background, your passions, your interests, the why you do what you do. It talks a little bit about a story of a career accomplishment, which you can't do stories necessarily on your resume. And it gives a call to action. It tells me exactly what you want me to do to connect with you or how I can support and help you, which is truly what LinkedIn is about. So your experience section. So your experience section is the place for you to really be able to, again, highlight your experience. Now, I get this question a lot about, well, how different does the experience section need to be from the experience section in my resume? And here's what I want you to think about. If you're a job seeker, you're probably handing out your resume like candy on Halloween, right? Like everybody's seeing your resume. So you want the experience section of your LinkedIn page to be a little bit different. Because if everyone's seeing your resume and then they go to your LinkedIn page and it's the same, you're not offering any additional assets or any additional information about you. So for your experience section, you can play with this. You can have fun. You can ask yourself, what might be 1 or 2 things that I didn't have space to be able to talk about or say about myself in my resume that I would really love to add here? Or maybe how can I tell what I did at my last job in a way of telling almost kind of like a story rather than having it be like in the resume bulleted out, right? So you can think about being a little bit more playful with your experience here. You can think about how this experience section can actually enhance or add to the experience section in your resume. And you can really showcase a little bit more about yourself here. And then in terms of your skills and endorsements, so your skills and endorsements section is really the space that you want to go bananas, adding all of the different kinds of keywords, all of the different kinds of skills that you think a company would be looking for. So now recruiters can sometimes use this section, the skill section, to actually find candidates. So one thing that I always say is, make sure that your skills section is relevant to of course, the work that you've done, but also to the positions that you're looking for. So if you are a project manager and you want to become a director level project manager, then you're going to want to add in skills that are more related to teamwork, strategy building, vision setting, because those are the things that a director level individual would have in terms of their skills. If you're unsure of what skills to add in your skills section, I would use Google. I would Google the title of your job and skills, and then see what comes up and find those applicable skills in this skills section. Now, the nice thing about this skills section, and I really love this part of LinkedIn, is that people can actually endorse you for skills, which means that people are giving you street cred. They're basically saying like, yeah, you didn't just put that you're great at that there, but that you actually are great at that. So I always suggest, if you're a job seeker, to get some endorsements on the skills that you're adding. And the best way for you to do that is to find some colleagues or friends or individuals that you know on LinkedIn and start endorsing them for skills. It's so crazy and so interesting how the human brain works. But when people endorse you for skills, you feel compelled to endorse them as well. So that's a great way for you to really focus on not just having skills that you're listing there, but also that credibility that people are also saying, yeah, I worked with this person and she is great at project management. So that's a great way for you to boost or enhance your profile. And as a job seeker, this is an amazing way to say, this is what I'm good at doing. So your LinkedIn profile really is a live profile. Remember that. It is something that people can give you credibility on. It is something that you can change up. It is something that you can really make dynamic for you as a job seeker to really bring you to the forefront of the application process. And the last thing I want to mention is recommendations. I cannot say how important recommendations are enough. Recommendations are basically people saying you're dope, and you like have people looking at this and you haven't even gone on an interview yet, and you've already got people basically saying you're amazing at a job. So I definitely want everyone on this call to make sure that after this, you are going after some recommendations. And same as skills, the best way to get recommendations is to start asking people if they would write a recommendation for you, and then to also let them know that you would love to return the favor. So if you have a few individuals that you know of who can speak to your work, your experiences, I would shoot them a recommendation request saying, hey, John, I would love for you to write about my experience or the experience we had to work together working on Project X. I'd specifically love for you to talk about my teamwork, my team building, my project management skills. And I'd love to return the favor to you. Send me a LinkedIn recommendation request and I'll get on that immediately. So it's a great way to introduce the fact that, hey, if you help me, I'll help you. And I definitely want you to get these recommendations, because when hiring managers or someone with hiring capacity land on your profile, this is an awesome way for them to get almost kind of like referrals for you, almost kind of like recommendations that they would get to think about hiring you before they even know who you are. And so this is truly, truly powerful. So far what we've talked about is we've talked about the 6 different pieces of your LinkedIn profile that you can start to focus on after this call to really be able to enhance your LinkedIn presence and brand as a job seeker. You want to have a solid profile picture, because unfortunately people don't look at profiles without pictures, or there's a lesser degree of them doing so. You want to have a headline that really showcases who you are, what you do, and the value contribution you can make to your next company. You want to have an about section or a summary section that shows your personality, your pizzazz, something you're really excited about, something you've accomplished. You also want that section to really give a call to action, to call people into your profile and into just connecting with you. And then you want to have an experience section, of course, an experience section that highlights, again, your experience, how it aligns to the positions that you're looking for next, and looks different than your resume. This is the place where you can play around a little bit more. And you also want to have your skills on lock. Your skills, you almost kind of want to think about your keywords. You want to think about the things that hiring managers are looking for next. And of course, lastly, you want to have some recommendations, which are the best street credibility you could possibly have. even before you get contacted by a potential company. And I also want to give a quick 1 minute or two to LinkedIn Learning. So a lot of times another question that clients come to me about is, okay, so I can showcase all of these great things on my LinkedIn profile, but I feel like there might be some things that I'm missing in the job. I feel like there's some areas where I don't necessarily have the experience. And this is really key for people who are making career shifts or transitions. You may not feel so solid in a particular area of the job you want to seek next, especially if it's an up level. So you may need to build some experience or some skills in order to really be able to land that next opportunity. And LinkedIn Learning is the best place for you to focus on to do that. And I'll tell you why. Because if you take a LinkedIn Learning course, here's what you can do. You can add it onto your LinkedIn profile, which means that hiring managers and people with hiring capacity actually, when they land on your profile, will see that you've taken certain certifications, certain courses, that you're enhancing your skill set. And when you finish a course, you can post it. So you can post that you just finished this course, and that post will go on your profile. So there's a featured section or a sort of like a section in your profile that has what you've done, your activity. So if someone with hiring capacity lands on your profile, they can see what activity you've done recently. So which post you've put up. So not only does your profile have that you've done these LinkedIn Learning courses, that you've built some skill sets, but you can post about it, and in your activity section, it'll also be there. So what a cool way for someone who has hiring capacity to not just know what you're good at doing, but also how you're continuing to grow and develop. And so when you're thinking about using LinkedIn Learning, I really want you to think about how this is so beneficial for you as a job seeker to not just showcase what you have, but also to showcase what you're building towards. And I want you to think about how that next or what you might be missing or need to enhance in that next opportunity, what skills, what experience. And I want you to really concretely utilize that as sort of your starting point for what types of courses, classes, opportunities you want to take on LinkedIn Learning. So I want you to think about the big picture of your experience. Consider what you want to do next or what jobs you want to do next. Identify the areas of growth that you need or the skills you need to enhance. Set a plan up for yourself of what courses you'd like to take. Take those courses, and then once the courses and certificates are done, add them onto your LinkedIn profile, post about them so they're in your activity section. And you can also add relevant ones to your resume as well as under the certification and training portion of your resume too. All right, so showcasing your brand on LinkedIn. This is the last piece of the puzzle we're going to talk about, and then I'll get to all of your questions. So when we think about our brand, we want to go back to our intention. So everyone in this room, virtual room, your intention for using LinkedIn is to get a job. So I want your brand, while you are job seeking, to be so focused on, I'm going to land my next job. I'm going to land my next opportunity. And when you think about your brand, you can actually kind of complete this brand statement or this little brand paragraph that I outlined for you, and think about how you want to showcase your brand based off of that. So your little brand statement that I want you to complete after this session is, I am adding your current job title, looking to land my next opportunity as land in the next job title you'd like to look for within a company that specializes in, and you can put in your field and industry. My special skills include, so you can include 3 to 5 special strengths or skills, and I am passionate about, and you can put in what you're passionate about that connects to the company mission, the job that you're seeking next. Once you have this little brand statement, you are then able to really take a step back and think about, so what do I want to post about? Who do I want to connect with? What kinds of opportunities would I like to look up? because essentially this brand statement, although short, has a lot of power and a lot of impact. It is basically allowing for you to figure out not just what you want your next job title to be, but who are some of the people you want to connect with on LinkedIn who have that job title. Not just the company that you want to work for next or specialize within, but what kinds of companies on LinkedIn would you like to follow that actually are in that field or industry that you may want to apply for a job with later. So your special skills, the 3 to 5 things that you're going to highlight, those are some skills or things that you can talk about on the platform that you know how to do, that you can start to post about. So you show your expertise and who you are. And you're passionate about. This is a plethora of things that you can post about, talk about, connect with other individuals on, because it connects to your passion, and that's a way for you to showcase who you are and what excites you. So when you think about your brand on LinkedIn, there are 6 core things that I want you to focus on as a job seeker. First, of course, creating this little mini brand statement for yourself to give yourself some focus in terms of your intention of looking for a job. But I also want you to connect with companies. Connect with companies in your field and industry. Follow their pages and reply to any post or comment on any post that they're putting up. The other thing is that if you apply for a job at these companies, I definitely want you to be in the know of what they're posting about. Because how cool would it be to be able to put into your cover letter that you saw recently that they're posting about a particular app that they're creating and you think that app is just super cool. Or when you're on an interview, to bring up a recent post that the company may have put out about how they're working with their clients. So I also want you to connect with people, of course, that are in your industry, in your area. I want you to think about posting about your accomplishments, your projects, what you're learning at work, different certificates or courses that you're taking. You can also post about your job industry passions and trends in the field. You can comment on others' posts that are really inspirational or interesting to you. And you can also focus on DMing people who like or comment your posts, like or comment on your posts. And this is really powerful because sometimes what happens is we post something and then people will like or comment on it and we just let it go. But those are people who are now engaged with your brand. So if someone likes or comments on your post, it's a really great idea to then DM them and say, hey, I noticed that you liked this post. Thank you so much for the support. What about it particularly was engaging to you? Or if someone comments on your post and you notice that it's someone that you'd really like to know in the industry, you can just say, hey, I noticed you commented on my post. I'd love to have a coffee chat with you in the next week or 2 if you're available. So think about how you use the platform in a way that is alive, in a way that actually is showcasing you. Not just to create a profile that becomes stagnant or just sits there, but actually to use the platform as a way to bring in potential opportunities to you, to showcase who you are so that people know you and want to hire you. All right, y'all. So the last thing that I will mention is one of the things that I tell my clients all the time, which is job hunting can be really stressful. Engaging on LinkedIn can be kind of crazy if you're starting out with it and if it's the first time of you really diving in. But I want you to think about this method that I like to teach to my clients, which is the one thing a day method. So what is one thing you can do today to move your job search forward? And to really ask yourself that question every single day, no matter how big or how small, to really focus on that one thing a day, whether it be on LinkedIn or off LinkedIn, and to recognize that just that one thing a day, doing 30 things in a month, 60 things in 2 months, 90 things in 90 days, like this is really the possibility and way for you to move your job search forward in a really new and unique and fun way. And just be playful with your one thing a day. Use LinkedIn, have fun with it, enjoy the process. Job searching can be a lot, but I want you to figure out the ways to have fun with the process. And LinkedIn can actually be really one of those ways. All right, everyone. So I am ready to take questions. And if you want to link up with me, I am on LinkedIn at Jasmine Escalera. I am also on Instagram at Jasmine Escalera Coaching. And I have a podcast called Her Next Career Move, where I talk about my career journey, the career journey of other women and people of color, some of the challenges that we face and how we can overcome them. And if you're interested in learning anything about my coaching programs, then definitely feel free to hit me up at coaching@jasmineescalera.com. All right,
Thank
Paige,
you.
I'm ready.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. That was great. I personally struggle with LinkedIn, so I was sitting here writing down your tips. We have tons of questions. One that I see here that's really interesting, that this was a topic that came up during our sessions yesterday as well. Do you have any strategies to avoid ageism when it comes to using a photo on LinkedIn?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what I will say about that, because I can be kind of a stickler with this. It's hard when you are posting photos of yourself or when you're putting yourself out there that way in terms of LinkedIn. But what I want you to kind of do is focus in and hone in on just being completely your authentic self and showcasing you and your brand, your expertise, your experience, what you can bring to the table when it comes to a company, and really knowing that companies out there are so many companies out there who want experience, who want individuals who really can do the job done, to get the job done, and they're not focused on that particular aspect of things. So I want you to just showcase who you are. I want you to have fun on the platform. I want you to get playful with it. I want you to put your experience out there. I want you to do it all, and just know that the right companies are going to hire the right individual to get the job done. I also noticed that they ask questions about 10 to 20 years, like, should you cut off the experience? I'm the type of person that basically believes that you don't put experience in there that's just not relevant to the jobs you're seeking next. So if there's a particular job you're looking for and you have some experience that isn't relevant, whether it be 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or three days ago, just, you don't have to put it. Really focus your LinkedIn profile, because it's all about you and what you want next on what you want next.
Yeah, and as a follow-up question to that part, I know people will now wonder, if I'm not including that experience, how do I address the gaps that might leave?
Yeah. So when we think about that, I don't want you to have gigantic holes or gaps in your profile, because that always does bring up some questions. So I want you to make it relevant, but make it concise, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there are positions that you may want to leave off that are older positions, however long they are. But if you have a position that you worked for 5 years and it's going to be in the middle of your profile, then I would say add it on and connect it to the kind of job you're looking for next.
Yeah, and I always think too, when it comes to any gap in employment, whether you're home with children, taking care of, a sick loved one, everybody has some sort of gap, whether you were laid off or so. I think with any type of gap, my thought is you never want to try and cover that up or,
No.
Fudge those dates at all, right?
No, absolutely not. And also think about how those experiences, and this is kind of interesting to say, but those experiences did bring you skill sets that you do have in terms of your job. So I'm going to, my dad actually had a traumatic brain injury when we were kids, and he stayed home and took care of the family. And so he called himself a domestic engineer. And it was so interesting how when I became a career coach, I actually came across someone who on their resume had domestic engineer, and they had written, it was great. I mean, they had written and bullet pointed it out, like scheduling activities. And so think about how also your LinkedIn profile is your space. Get creative with it, have fun with it. Every single experience you've had gives you experience that could be relevant to the job you're seeking next.
Yeah, that's amazing. I do feel like most of my project management skills have been gained by being a mom.
Of course, I can't
just
even
figuring
imagine.
out how I'm going to get through the day. So I love that. Let's see. Lots and lots of questions here. Do recruiters really read the recommendations on your LinkedIn profile? This person says, I have good ones in my profile and no recruiters ever mention them to me.
Yeah, I don't care if they don't mention them to you. I'm sure they're looking at them.
Yeah, can't hurt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I land on people's profile, if they have recommendations, I read them. It gives me an idea of who the person is. And when I was hiring in my past positions, when I had hiring capacity, I would always go on people's LinkedIn profiles and see what they had on their profile and what they were missing on their profile. So it doesn't matter if they're mentioning it to you, put it there because people do look at it.
Yeah, it seems like it at the very least would give you credibility.
Absolutely.
This person asks about how your LinkedIn profile would attract ATS or recruiters who use keyword searches. So my first thought is the ATS is not looking at your LinkedIn profile. However, LinkedIn works a lot like an ATS, right?
Yeah.
Where it does use keywords.
Absolutely. And what I understand of how recruiters use LinkedIn is they search through skills sections a lot. So that's why you also want to focus on your skills section and really thinking about what's the opportunity I want next and what would be the most applicable skills for me to add on so that if a recruiter was searching for someone with project management experience, they would land on my profile. You also want to use your headline section for keywords as well. So absolutely. I love that you described it like that way, Paige, that it's not an ATS, but it does function similarly in terms of how people who can use it for searchable features, like to hire someone, would search for them.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I always think about both of those tools in my head. How about somebody that's going through or is interested in a career change? How would they structure their about section?
Yeah, so I would structure it again based off of what you're looking for next. So I have actually a client that I'm working with currently who is a leasing manager. So someone who does property management, and she's looking to make a transition into customer success management. And it's interesting how like the skills are so transferable. So what we're really focusing on is if you want to land a job in customer success, how do you talk about your experience to match that, what you're seeking next, right? And the way that I really like to think about this is look at 3 to 5 job descriptions for the position you're looking for next, and really ask yourself, what are the things that this job would want me to do? And how can I talk about my experiences, my skills, my strengths to be able to mirror that? So that would be a great way to think about your about section. Your about section could be also a wonderful way for you to talk about why you want to make the career transition or why you want to make the career switch. So what about this new industry is exciting or enticing to you? What about it is interesting to you? And why do you want to make that transition or jump?
Okay, great. Kind of on the flip side, what about like recent college grads or people that don't have any or don't feel like they have any experience yet? What can they do to beef up their LinkedIn profile?
Great question. Yeah. So what I would do is really focus in on any experience that you've accumulated in college or when you were in school. So did you hold any jobs? Did you do any volunteer work? Did you take any specific courses or certifications as part of your degree that would be complementary to the position you're looking for next? So for example, if you have a psychology degree and you want to go into social work, you may want to really enhance some of your educational background, some of the certifications you've had, or any kind of volunteering or internshipping you did that focuses on that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. A few people asking about that open to work photo frame on LinkedIn. Do you think this person says, do you think it comes off as desperate or will it help me out at all?
You know, it's so interesting. I don't think it matters. Yeah, I really don't think it matters. I think if you feel comfortable, so a lot of people don't use the open to work symbol, not because of anything else besides they just don't want their employers to know that they're open
Right.
to. So if you're comfortable and you're capable of using that symbol because it doesn't matter to you, who knows what's going on in your career life, then I would say go for it. It can only maybe potentially draw people to you. But if you don't use it, it's not going to also not bring opportunities to you.
Right.
It's truly about how you showcase yourself on the platform, meaning how you use the platform, how you've put your profile together, how you enhance your brand, how you're commenting, how you're engaging, rather than having or not having the symbol.
Yeah, and there are some people here who are concerned. They are currently employed, but are also actively job searching, and they're worried about tipping their employers off, like you said, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe making a bunch of changes to their LinkedIn profile or creating a LinkedIn profile for the first time and worrying that that'll somehow hurt the job that they currently have. Do you have any tips for kind of flying under the radar while still making yourself searchable?
Yeah, so I think, the way that LinkedIn is used is not just for job seeking. LinkedIn is
Yeah,
truly used for enhancing your professional brand, for talking about yourself, for branding yourself. So if you think about it as the platform that is just used to showcase who you are as a professional, then we can kind of leave that. I don't want to say leave that at the door. That doesn't make sense. But the concern is valid. But I want you to really think about it as that everybody is using this platform to showcase who they are. So
yeah,
unless you put on there, I am looking for a new job, when your employer doesn't know that you're doing that, then just feel comfortable using the platform, starting a profile, engaging on the platform. Everyone is using it for their brand,
right.
not necessarily to find a new job. So people won't consider that you're trying to get out there and find a new opportunity. And frankly, aren't we all trying to always look for a new opportunity? We should
Right.
be.
Yeah, and I think a LinkedIn profile is kind of like a resume where it is sort of a living document, and it is something that you should always be keeping up to date. I
Mhm.
mean, I haven't done a job search and I've been with Jobscan for 6 years, but I'm always updating my profile picture and, going in and
Yeah.
updating my LinkedIn page. And it's so much more about, networking and just staying on top of the skills that you've acquired. So yeah, I personally think you can't go wrong by fixing up your LinkedIn profile.
Absolutely. And I also want us to think about, the saying of stay ready so you never have to get ready. So if
Mhm.
you're just using LinkedIn for a job search, then you are not using LinkedIn the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it can seem, and I feel this way even about LinkedIn, it can be kind of daunting to go in there and be like, all right, how do I start? So yeah, I think if you're always kind of preparing it little by little, you'll never, have that experience.
Mhm.
Let's see. We probably have time for one more question. Jasmine, did you have any that you saw that you wanted to make sure you answered? Otherwise, I'll pull another one out.
You can pull one. I don't think I
Okay. There
noticed
were
any
people
other.
who asked for pictures of Cody, but we don't need to use
Oh,
that one
I
right
usually do put him in the slide deck. Poor guy. He's like, that's the only way I was
now.
starting. He was like, what happened?
Um, oh, I have two great recommendations visible on my LinkedIn, and I'm concerned that any new recommendations will push those two down into a less visible space. Is that a fair concern, or is it just the more reviews, the better?
So I think having somewhere around 5 to 6 solid reviews is more than enough. I don't think you have to have more than that. I would really focus your reviews on being for positions that showcase the kind of job you want to do next, or the kinds, or your or your experience. It's a
Okay.
good question though. I don't know if LinkedIn has the capability of like pinning recommendations.
Yeah, I was wondering that.
I'm trying to think if they do. So that's actually a really interesting question to bring up. I do not know if LinkedIn has the capacity to like pin things, but I would say that, having 5, maybe 6 solid recommendations on your profile is great. I
Yeah.
know that I do have a few recommendations, and about the last, I believe 4 show up on my profile.
Okay.
And then you have to scroll through. So
I bet you can move them around. That seems like something
I
that would be possible.
I think so. I'm not sure though.
Well, thank you so much. This has been just an awesome learning experience for all of us. If you guys are not signed up, we have one more session this afternoon that's actually on the same topic, but with a different presenter, Miriam Spinner. It might seem kind of crazy to attend two on the same topic, but honestly, it's great. We had two on the same topic yesterday on resume optimization, and I learned completely different things from both sessions. So if you have the time, go ahead and register for that, and hopefully we'll see you this afternoon. But for now, thank you so much, Jasmine. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
Don't forget about that promo, or the promo code, which is up at the top, jobscan.co/promo/no fear 2022. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later on this week, I hope. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.